Nitunya is here, and today is all about funds and more funds. We've heard about the youth fund, the women fund, and always the biggest question is, does this ultimately help the people it is meant to?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not just about funds, it's about the youth. It's about the young people on your money. So we're going to tell the young people how they can create enterprise, how they can make money off the resources that have been put in place by the government. And that's when we'll be talking about the youth fund. And the chairman of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, Gorso Melango, is in the house.
Is in the house.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
All right, I guess I should take it away.
Yes, take it away.
Great. This is Your Money on the Morning Express. We're going to be talking about your money and the Youth Enterprise Fund and how the young people can leverage on this fund. This is your money. Welcome back. And the young people are the biggest constituents of this country. They are the future of Kenya. The young people have been blamed for a lot of things, but the young people have also been blamed for being lazy, for not being enterprising enough. The young people on their part have said, we do not have resources, we do not have capital. And the government came up with different funds. We have from as early as 2006, the Youth Enterprise Development Fund. After that, we've had other different funds, the Youth Fund, the Women Fund, and most recently, the Uwezo Fund. Today, I'm joined by Gorso Melango, who is the chairman of the Youth Enterprise Fund, to just help us break down this fund and how the young people can leverage on this. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, how has the journey been since 2006, and are the young people taking advantage and leveraging on this particular resource?
I think we've come a long way. I mean, initially young people were a bit apprehensive about accessing these funds, and also the fund, because part of its mandate was giving financial intermediaries money for onward lending to young people. So the banks created a lot of bureaucracy, and the funds became a little bit inaccessible. But we removed, when I became chairman, we removed money from the banks, and we are lending directly under several loan products. One of them, which is VOCA, which lends directly to young people. And so it's been now easy for young people to access. And we've also created sector-specific funding. Like now the music loan product, we've created another one for filmmakers. We call it Tech 254, letter action. And then, of course, there is also the agribusiness loan product, which we call, we've dubbed it Farming is Cool. So, I mean, we've created several products for young people to be able to access this money. And it's now a bit easier now for young people to access.
What has been the biggest challenge? Because a lot of young people say, well, we do not know, but then recently we have it all on the internet and people can access it. But we still don't have a lot of people going out and with the kind of knowledge that they know what they can do with this fund. Is the problem capacity of how to use this money? Because we don't have a lot of excitement from the young people.
I think basically the problem, you know, there's the 80-20 rule. You know, young people spend about a third or 2/3 of their time, you know, on the internet, but they don't go for the right information. So I think it's important for young people. They're Facebooking and tweeting each other instead of accessing the relevant information that can change their lives. So I think if they go to our website www.youthfund.go.ke, they will be able to access this information, because it's critical for them to know, to get the information and use the information for their betterment. And we keep on asking. Even the Bible says in Matthew 7:7, ask and it shall be given unto you. So they need to be able to get the information, and then once they get the information, then they are able to use that information to access the funds. And like I've told you, we've introduced several loan products, so they will be able to get something relevant for them.
Chairman, we have the loan products, we have the fund, but who is informing them or educating them on exactly how to use this fund? Because having talent and an idea is one thing, but using resources to be able to leverage and to grow wealth is another. Do we have a mechanism that will ensure that young people actually get skills that will now link their talent to these resources?
There is what we call pre-disbursement training. So once we are able to identify those young people who are going to access this fund, what we do is we take them through a training program we call pre-disbursement training, to just build their capacity to understand how to use money. Because it will be them and their money. So it's important to take them through a training program, just for them to understand how they can use this money. Number two,
What kind of training does that entail?
it is just basically capacity training, building training that involves how to handle money. You know, the basic book
Right.
accounting education, that they are just able to be able to use the money for the purpose for which it was intended, and also how to account for the money.
Right.
And a little bit of business training, mapping out business opportunity training also, to just identify the business opportunities that exist. And also I think it's critical to mention that young people need to understand that when they borrow the money, they must use it for the purpose for which it was intended.
Yeah. It's not free money. It has
It's
to
not
come
free
back.
money, it's loan.
Right.
We have the different loan products, but we have one that we give through groups. And we've reduced the groups from 14 to about 7.
Right.
So as few as 7, you can be able to access our loans from as little as 50,000 up
So,
to 400,000.
sorry, Chairman, to cut you short. When you say 14 to 7, we're talking about it has to be a group of 7
A group
people.
of 7
Why
minimum.
is that?
Because we're using the co-guarantee mechanism.
Right.
That they co-guarantee each other and they don't need to bring any collateral to us.
Right.
So that's why we need a group of at least 7.
So, Chairman, if I have this brilliant idea and I'm saying, hey, I have a small little piece of land somewhere in Kitengela, can I use it as a guarantee for my loan and then
Yes.
I do it as an individual? Is that allowed?
It's allowed under our VOCA loan product. You
Okay.
can be able to borrow as an individual from 100,000 up to 2 million. So you are allowed to borrow.
What are the rates like?
The interest, the interest is 8%, and we will still give you about like 3 months grace period before you start repaying the loan.
Right.
So it's really very flexible.
Right. Chairman, looking at 2006 up to now, we have the 30% procurement rule that came recently. But looking at the kind of ventures that young people are getting into, especially once they've accessed these funds, if you were to give us a trend, what kind of businesses are young people doing?
Mostly, you know, young people are very creative. They're in ICT. They're also doing supplies, especially because of the 30% procurement directive that was issued by President Uhuru Kenyatta. So there are many young people who are coming up with very innovative ideas and starting up businesses. And we keep telling them that, you see, that it's like the president has given them a blank check.
Right.
By offering the finances and also providing the business opportunities for them, by directing that 30% of procurement in government goes to young people. As a fund, what we've done is to create an LPO financing product that will be able now to offer young people the money to finance the LPOs.
Yes.
So we're calling it LPO financing. Under that LPO financing, we also have bid bonds and performance bond that will be able to offer young people to allow them have easy access to the 30% procurement.
Right. Chairman, a few years back, a challenge that was faced with the Youth Enterprise Development Fund was the vehicles the government was using to disburse these funds in regards to the banks and financial institutions. And a lot of young people cried out that we are not getting value for what the government intended. Has that been sorted, and what was the challenge?
That was sorted because, you see, banks is like, I mean, if you are lending guys at 30% and then I give you money and ask you to lend young people at 8%, you're most likely going to, to retain the money and use it for your other clients.
Things, yes.
So then we've cut off that link and now we are lending directly. So it becomes a bit easier for young people to access these funds.
So when you say directly, I'm assuming for a young person saying, okay, so you've scrapped the bank, so what is there?
Offices.
How does that work?
You know, in every constituency we have 2 officers and we've provided them with a motorbike. They are supposed to go out there and work with young people in groups and as individuals.
Right.
Under groups, we call it Constituency Youth Enterprise Scheme, and then members within the group can also borrow individually, and we call that ECS. So those officers on the ground are supposed to go around and get those young people to access the loans and also educate them, give them the relevant information they require. But also the most important thing also is for young people to walk into our offices, both at the constituency level. We also have regional offices in the former provinces.
Yes.
But we have about 10 which they are coordinating the counties. But also those who are in Nairobi can come to our offices at National Bank House on 8th floor. You just walk in and you'll have a form. You'll be able to get relevant information you need. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, recently you launched a very interesting product, a special fund for musicians.
Yes.
For people who can sing,
yes.
and filmmakers.
Yes.
Lots of people, lots of talent, young people are watching right now and they say, okay, how exactly does that work? Do I just come and say, hey, I have a good voice, I need money to record, my producer says I need X amount of money. How does that work?
We call the product Tech 254, letter action.
Letter action.
Yes, letter action. So we set aside 300 million for young people to be able to access and do what they know how to do best. If you're good in film making, or you want short films or videos, or a TV series, then you are able to apply for the money. We'll be able to give you. And the amount ranges from 500,000 to 25 million.
Right.
So it means you'll be able to come up with a script and tell us exactly what you want to do. And then we have a vetting team that will be able to vet your idea. And when they find it suitable for funding, then we'll be able to give you the money.
So this team is like an executive producer. Someone sits and say, well, what is this team comprised of? Who are these people?
There are people who have been in the industry. There are people who are actually have been in the film industry, and actually the vetting team is chaired by a veteran filmmaker, Bob Nyanja, and a team of other young people. Yeah. Who are working together.
So they look and say, well, this one can make,
this one can
this
make
one
it,
is
this
Nigerian,
one won't. Yeah,
this one we
is Nigerian. And this is also important because the government are directed that 60% of the TV content be local. Right. And it means we're seeking to satisfy that market, and so that our young people can be able to make money and also promote our own culture. Right. As opposed to watching these Niger movies. They're making money out of us.
Okay, Chairman, that is for movies. How can musicians plug in?
Musician is the same thing. I mean, we are about to set up a team that will be able to vet the content.
So we'll have a judge Ian of sorts saying, this is good, this is not.
Good, this is not.
Right.
And then after that, they will be able to access the funds. So I think we're just looking at the sectors where a majority of our young people are. Right. It becomes very easy now to make money out of their passion.
Right. Yes. Chairman, we've seen these two areas are emerging as careers, and young people are taking them seriously. But if you go to the villages, a lot of young people who congregate in small groups are either trying to recycle candle wax, do some honey purification. And in the long run, this hasn't been seen as being profitable. What measures are there to encourage
the rural
thinking outside the box, as it were, for the rural folk?
Okay, we're also encouraging young people. You see, we are discouraging the rural-urban migration, is to not to put too much pressure on the resources we have in the cities. Yeah. And we agri-business, which we put in a lot of money under that sector. Right. We are encouraging young people to do farming, and a partnership which we have with Amiran. And what I was telling you is farming is cool, which is being now spearheaded by Giuliani.
Yes, yes.
That farming is cool, that you can do farming and make money. We also have computerized other products. We have the computerized hatcheries, the incubators, which we give young people on the ground. And also agri-business under partnership with Amiran. We are giving young people greenhouses. They can be able to grow several farming products, and then we look for market for them. Because part of our mandate is market linkages. Right. We are able now to link their farming products to the market. So we are encouraging young people to get involved in any kind of farming, and we will be able to finance it. Right. Because then we want Kenya to be the bread basket of Africa.
All right. In terms of accountability, this, as you said, is a loan. 8% is the interest rate. What happens when young people default, when entrepreneurs cannot pay and the businesses don't take off the ground? Do we have a system of accommodating them? How does that work?
We through the loan products, what we do risk assessment. And we'll be able to see whether your business idea is viable. And if it's viable, then we also do what is called monitoring and evaluation, to just evaluate whether you're doing the right thing or you are using the money for the purpose for which it was intended.
Setting up offices and administration.
Yes. And we are also giving them support system just to ensure that they're able to get the market for their product and they get it right from the word go. But they also, of course, room to understand that some businesses don't just pick up. And we are giving them room that they're able now to negotiate with us and say that you know, I've not been able to make money out of my business, and therefore I'm not able to repay. And therefore we agree with them that they can be able to reschedule the loan repayment.
Okay.
So we make it easy for young people to do business.
If that fails,
yes.
what is the next course of action?
Normally there's co-guarantee mechanism if you are in a group, and therefore the group members will be able to come in and help you pay.
Okay.
Because you're supposed to know each other. It's basically heavily borrows on that nyumba kumi stuff.
Right.
That a member of the group should
to
be
know your
known.
members.
Should be known to
Okay.
each other. Yeah.
Do you have a blacklisting mechanism that
Yes,
you say,
we
well,
do.
these people cannot borrow for a certain period?
We
because
do,
they
because when we give you a loan, we put you in our data system. And therefore you cannot be able to go to another group and borrow money or come as an individual. So we have a mechanism to check.
So far, how has been the default rate?
The default rate initially was very high, but now we are encouraging. What we are doing, we are saying per county or per group, the more you pay, the more you get the money. So you're spoiling for others if you don't pay, because this is a revolving fund. So we are encouraging young people to repay. The repayment rate is going high because majority of young people are now understanding that there are no job opportunities available out there. So they must get into business and do business, and they make it. It has to work.
Right.
And the more they repay, the more they are likely to get more money.
Right.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the newest kid on the block, the 30% procurement rule, has received a lot of excitement from young people, but they're saying after all the excitement and the big launches, what they were left for was small tenders to supply samosas, you know, to the offices and water during functions. And the big money tenders are still left for the big boys. How can young people participate in this competitively?
You know, Bonnie, the thing is you must go and look for it. Nobody will bring you a tender where you are seated.
Right.
So, and it's a huge, there's a huge gap between, you know, those young people who want the tenders and how ready they are.
Right.
So I think that one is you must get the papers right. Once you get the paper right, then you'll be able to get the tenders that you require.
Right. And also there is LPO financing.
Yes, there is LPO financing to just address the shortage of money, because big boys get it because they have the money to supply.
Yes.
And now we are telling young people we are offering you the money to do the supply. And what they need to do is to get their registration paperwork right, and they need to go to National Treasury and get what is called YAGPO certificate, Young People's Access to Procurement. There's a certificate that now exempts you or gives you an opportunity to have a preferential treatment when you are going to look for a tender.
What are the requirements? Because those are the questions they're asking themselves.
Yes,
home.
the requirement is that you have a
certificate?
registered company and you get a KRA certificate that shows that you pay your taxes, because we also want people to pay their taxes for our government to run efficiently without depending on donor funding. So you need to get your paperwork right, you get your company registered, you get the VAT certificate, you get the certificate of compliance from KRA. You also need a YAGPO certificate, which you get from National Treasury. So without the Young People certificate, you're treated like anyone else. Yeah, you won't get the preferential treatment when it comes to tendering. Okay. And then once you get that, then we'll be able to also give you now another certificate from us, from Youth Enterprise Development Fund. Right. And then on top of that, we'll get you financing for your LPO. Right. So what we do is we try and work with the procurement entities, the government agencies that will give you the tender, and they give us the letter of undertaking that once the money is given to you, it will be paid in a certain account, and then we subtract our money plus our profit, and we give you the rest. So it's a great opportunity for young people that you're going to make money. You are going to have young billionaires. They say opportunity comes to those who are ready. You know, they say luck is when opportunity meets preparedness. Right. So young people need to get ready, because this is a great opportunity for them. They must take advantage of it. It's about 300 billion worth of procurement. It's a lot of money. So we'll have billionaires, and we'll also have paupers. You know? Right. Mr. Chairman, we need to bring this to a closing, but looking at the region and also at Africa at large, or developing countries, do we have countries that have really done this well and we can learn from them? And how does Kenya compare? South Africa did it. You know, they had under what they call Black Empowerment Scheme, which the empowerment program, which the majority, the two great South Africans who have emerged as billionaires, Tony Sexwale and Cecil Ramaphosa, they got their money from the Black Empowerment Program. So it means there was preferential treatment for the black South Africans to be able to access financial resources and also business from government and other agencies. So it has worked elsewhere, but majority of countries are coming to also learn from Kenya because the current government has now put enough resources and created opportunities for young people to access government procurement and money to do business. So I think it has happened elsewhere, it can happen here. It's like affirmative action.
Right.
Yeah.
Finally, Mr. Chairman, what's next for Youth Enterprise Development Fund?
The other thing is that we do understand that there are dwindling job opportunities in Kenya, and therefore we are soon going to set up a YESA secretariat, and where YESA means Youth Employment Scheme Abroad. And we are going to do structured labor export there, so majority of our young people who don't have...
They need to get their passports ready.
Yes, they need to get their passport ready. They need to put their act together.
Right.
And we are going to give them what is called migration loan and also do what is called pre-departure training for them. They don't get culture shock when they go to the foreign country, and we'll ensure that they have a little bit of money before they start earning. And it will be structured. That means that it will be government to government. We'll be able to look at the contracts they are signing and liaise with our Kenyan embassy in that foreign country to ensure they are not molested or they are not mistreated. So there are good things coming up, so get ready to benefit from the fund and the government programs.
All right, that's a good place to end it. Gorse Miralango, Chairman of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, just breaking down the opportunities that are there for young people in this country to leverage on the funds that have been set by the government and really how they can do that. Now you know you have to visit, what was the building again?
National Bank House.
National Bank House to get all your papers right. If you need to make money. That has been Your Money. My name is Bonnie Tunya. Good morning.